Isabel. I'm a strata manager here at BCS Sydney. I've been in the role for about 3.5 years, starting off in a small firm close to my home. I started off there as a receptionist and moved up to an assistant there and then moved over to BCS. I was originally in childcare. I didn't think that it was fitting to me. I wanted something a little bit more challenging, something that I could learn. In property is something that's growing every day in Sydney and around the country. There's always going to be jobs in this industry, so I thought it was interesting. So as I said, I started off in a different company, came over to BCS. I was an assistant here for about 3 or 4 months, and then I moved into a trainee position as a trainee strata manager, and then I've moved up to a full-time management role now with a portfolio of about 58 buildings.
Hi, my name is Keith. I'm a strata manager at BCS Sydney as well. I've been with the company for just over 2 years. Started as an assistant and then became a trainee strata manager with some buildings. And then just a few months ago, about 3-4 months ago, became a full-time strata manager. And I currently have about 45 buildings. Previously, from a real estate background. I moved to strata because I just thought there was more variety, more chance for progression, and I guess more of a challenging role. Originally I'm from the UK, so I did real estate back home, and then I also did the equivalent to strata back home as well.
So as a strata manager, our day-to-day role is to look after the building's day-to-day business. So we're running committee meetings, general meetings, we're looking after their finances, their repairs and maintenance. A lot of the parts of our job is dealing with different types of personalities. So you're dealing with people who, these are their homes, this is where they live. So you need to always, we need to remember that is very important to them. So we're dealing with people that are invested in what we're dealing with and what we're doing every day. So we're looking after how the building is maintained, how it's run, their finances, things like that.
The main part of the role is, I guess, the day-to-day running of the building, making sure that clients are happy and dealing with any typical issues that may arise. For example, repairs and maintenance issues, any disputes between neighbours, and then holding the AGMs, attending the buildings, and meeting the clients at on-site committee meetings or meetings here in the office.
So another huge part of our job is within the office and the group of people that we work with. We have a lot of great managers within our office. We learn from, we ask questions. A lot of us, strata is a huge industry, and there's a lot of things that happen every day that change things and things that you're learning. You never stop learning about strata. So in our office, we're all getting along and we're all learning from one another, and a big part of that is the training that's provided by PICA and the ongoing support from our managers. So I think that that's a big part of what our job entails as well, is maintaining the relationships. Things that I love most about our job is mainly the team that we work with. Here at PICA we have a huge amount of employees, and everyone is working together to come to a good end result.
Another thing that I love about the job is the variety that you get with the role. No day is ever exactly the same. You meet a lot of different people, contractors, clients, owners, tenants, real estate agents, so it's very varied.
The biggest misconception, I think, in our industry is that strata managers or the management firm have the power to do anything. Most of the time our delegated duties are to take instructions from the Owners Corporation. So the most of our jobs is going back and forth with the owners for their approval and their instructions on what to do. So normally if there's something to be fixed, we don't just go ahead and get it done. We need to seek approval from the people that own within that building to allow us to do that. And I think that's probably the biggest fall through with owners that don't understand that it's not our office independently making the decisions to go ahead and do things. We actually need to seek those instructions before we action anything. I think that's the main issue that we face each and every day.
I think one of the biggest misconceptions is maybe the difference between a strata manager and a building manager. I think that they think we're on site and we'll come out and fix any problems, repair with the people that will come and do the maintenance, whereas obviously there's a big difference. So for example, they think if they report a repair or maintenance issue that it's potentially going to be us that actually come out and fix it, but obviously we're not qualified contractors with
So I think one of the biggest problems for owners corporations and the things that they face is the legislation. So the legislation is, complex, and as I said, we're learning every day about how strata's changing, and that's how the law is read and defined. So the owners corporations have a duty under that legislation to follow what it says and fulfil their obligations. And I think that that's probably the biggest difficulty for owners corporations, because they need to, or they feel that they need to go one way, but our job is to direct them in the way that the law tells them to do. And I think that that's probably the biggest one for the owners corporations. The things that they face is trying to follow the rules per se, but then also have the outcome that they want. So
I think one of the biggest issues being a lot owner in a strata scheme is, even when you want to do something like a renovation, rather than in a house, you actually have to get the approval from the owners corporation to get that done. Of course, you still have to follow the legislation and get bylaws, etc. Another big issue for lot owners is just getting along with their neighbours. A lot of the issues that we face are between two owners who don't get along, or perhaps there's someone in another unit causing noise disturbances, and that can be a big issue for lot owners.
So I think one of the biggest problems as a strata manager, and one of the things that we face, is trying to have two parties come together and agree on one simple outcome. So just off the top of my head, yesterday we had an NCAT hearing for a lot owner who believed that their doors that were replaced by the previous owner without approval should be repaired and maintained by the owners corporation and then reinstated to the original condition, which means that the previous lot owner changed the door from timber to aluminium, and the lot owner believed that her lot should now be changed back to timber so that it matched the rest of the building. So NCAT is the tribunal that looks after hearings about strata issues. So yesterday we had the hearing adjourned so that both parties could get back together and discuss it. I sat with both the committee and the individual lot owner and walked them through and tried to just have them have a conversation and understand where both sides were coming from. At the end of the discussion, we came to an agreement, and the lot owner has cancelled their application with NCAT because we had a positive outcome. So I think, as I've said, one of the biggest issues for us as strata managers is just trying to have two people listen to one another and find a positive outcome to whatever the issues are.
So one particular issue that I can remember is with a building that just came onto Pika, and from their previous managing agent, they've been getting charged a lot from the utility providers for electricity. We couldn't understand why they were getting charged so much. So after some investigation, it turned out that it was quite a new building, and the utility provider had them on an automated bill. They were charging them for the building that was there now, and also the building that was there previously, which had been knocked down to build the new units. So after numerous phone calls with the utility provider, I had to obviously provide them with proof of payments and the details of the previous building and the new building. I ended up actually getting the building a refund of around $20,000.
So I think my one piece of advice to an owners corporation or an individual lot owner is to remember that at the end of the day, you're both one. You're one party, one representative of the building that you all own in. You are all investors. You've all put your time and your money into this building, and it's important to everybody. So I think that it's also important to remember that there is legislation that governs the building, and as strata managers, it is our role and it's our obligation to always advise per the legislation. So although some things and sometimes what we say and the advice that may be given to you is not ideal or not what you essentially would like to be the outcome, it is the responsibility of the owners corporations to follow the legislation, and that's why strata managers are here, and that's our job.
I think one of the best pieces of advice I could give to someone living in strata would be to communicate and try your best to get along with your neighbours. I think if you do that, there's a good chance that you can resolve any issues or disputes without even having to go to your strata manager, and potentially avoid any costs to the owners corporation by just trying your best to get along and then resolving the issue.